Hi guys, welcome to Hot Shot Outdoors. I'm your host Rodney Sunday, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a slip sinker rig for flathead catfish. To start this, you need to get all your material. You need leader material, and we're using 40-pound test, just regular clear monofilament. Need your hooks. We have a few different hooks that we use depending on the situation and what we're using for bait. We have our sinker slide, our swivel, a bead, and of course our sinker. So we're going to start here by pulling out maybe about 3 feet of leader material, cutting it off. Now you shouldn't use your teeth, you should use a pair of pliers or nail clippers, but for me it's just more convenient to bite it off real quick. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tie the hook on, and I'm using a double action circle hook from Team Catfish, and we really like the Team Catfish hooks because they're really heavy gauge wire, so they're real strong, but the hook gap is very large compared to traditional circle hooks, and that way, with a catfish's mouth being real wide, has a better chance of hooking up when he takes your bait. So we're going to start by tying the knot here. What I like to do for all of my big game knots is I like to do a Palomar knot, and they're quite simple. You double up your line, put it through the eye of the hook, and with the doubled up line make an overhand knot. Then pull your loop from the overhand knot through. Then you're going to take that same loop and thread it down over your hook and back up over the eye of the hook, like that. Now, once you get it all close to being cinched together, you want to make sure it completely clears the eye, so that way, right there, moisten it with a little bit of saliva and pull on both ends, and that draws it down tight, and you have a perfect Palomar knot. And these are the strongest knots that I've ever used for monofilament, and they don't have any slip, and they're just an all-around great knot. And now we cut it off close to the knot, and now you have a very strong knot on there with a very good hook to use for catfish. Now, after we have the hook tied on, what you're going to want to do is figure out how long you actually want your leader. So today, let's see, I'll make my leader a little bit longer, and I'll make it about 2 feet long. So, give myself some slack. And now's when I tie in the swivel. Again, I'm going to use a Palomar knot here. I always like to tie the strongest knots possible. That way, I know there's less of a chance of personal error on knot failure. So, I just want everything to be strong as possible when I'm out there fighting 30+ pound catfish in high river water. So, okay, we got the leader all done, got the hook in the knot, and then your leader in the knot. So it's about 2 feet long, and now what we got to do is we got to attach it to the rod. And our setup here is we're using a 7-foot medium heavy power Shimano rod with a Shimano Triton GT bait casting reel, and this one has sort of a lever bail on it and star drag, but it also has a bait clicker, and that's one of the most important things that we rely on when we're fishing for flathead catfish, is to have a reel with an open bail bait clicker. That way, when a fish picks up your bait and starts running with it, you have an audible signal that you know there's a fish at the end of your line. So we like using them. It's a good setup. We spool them with anywhere between 35 and 65-pound braid, depending on the rod and what line we have readily available. But we never go anything lower than 30 pounds. So that's just our setup. A lot of people use spinning rods. I have a spinning rod on my boat that I use, but my main equipment is bait casting rods with live bait clickers on them. In my opinion, they're the best we can use. So now, to make this slip sinker rig, what you need to do is you need to take your sinker slide and slide that up your main line first. That's the first thing to go up. So there's a little hole in it right there, and that goes right up through, and that slides freely on your line. Next, we take the bead and put this on after your sinker slide, so that slides freely up your line like so. Now you want to pick up your freshly tied leader by the swivel end, and you're going to tie the main line to the swivel. Again, I'm using the Palomar knot because it's a quick, easy one, and it's probably the best knot for braid because it doesn't slip. So it's a little bit trickier to tie when you have a 2-foot leader on the end. You have to pull the loop through everything, but I've done it so much, it's kind of natural to me to thread it the whole way over the leader and back around the swivel, and that way I'm not using multiple kinds of knots. I'm keeping it simple. I'm using the same knot on there the whole time, and it makes it more simple for me. Once you have that, now can't bite through the braid, so gotta cut that off. And these knots, again, you can cut close. Right there. Now you have your hook, your leader line, your swivel, your main line, a bead, and a sinker slide. And the beads on here, the bead protects the knot from the sinker slide going over it and possibly cutting it. The bead's just a safety precaution. It's not for looks, it's not for sound, it's just to protect the knot better. And finally, once you have this, the sinker slide is just a little clip that snaps in and out, so you can interchange the size weight that you want. And we're fishing the Susquehanna River right now, and conditions, it's a little high and a little muddy, so it's also a little faster where we're fishing. So we want to keep our bait on the bottom and keep it from getting dragged away. So we're using 4-ounce sinkers. We use a no rolls regular bank sinkers, but here I'm using a flat river sinker, so it doesn't roll in the current. So this is our rig. You got your sinker on there, it goes the whole way down to this. We have that on our rod, and now this setup is ready to go catch some flathead catfish tomorrow night. So stay tuned, and we'll see you on the river.